Today on Rainbow Country, my TIFF 2022 coverage begins with TIFF CEO Cameron Bailey, who will fill us in on what we can expect at TIFF 2022. And over the course of the next few weeks, I'll be bringing the sights, the sounds, and the films from the 47th Annual Toronto International Film Festival. All that and more on episode 317, so stay tuned. The Gay Talk Radio right here on Rainbow Country.
Hi, this is Emily Saliers from Indigo Girls.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Harder, porn star, burlesque performer, and the creator of Porn to Be a Star. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Well, hello and welcome to a brand new journey through Rainbow Country. As I like to call it, a little gay radio show working to give voice to the LGBT community and beyond. And as always, I am your tour guide through Rainbow Country. I'm producer and host, Mark Tara. By the way, Rainbow Country originates from CIUT-FM in Toronto and now proudly in syndication on 12 outlets across Canada. From coast to coast to coast. The Yukon, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, the east coast of Canada in Newfoundland, Ontario, even down to Buffalo, New York, and online. Well, thanks to you tuning in, streaming, downloading, but ultimately listening. Together, we continue to build Rainbow Country into a nationally syndicated gay radio show, a #1 LGBT podcast on Podomatic.com's Gay and Lesbian chart, as well as being recognized as Canada's #2 LGBT podcast on Feedspot.com. So today, my coverage of the 47th Toronto International Film Festival begins, and on this episode, it's all about setting the stage for the festival, with a special focus on LGBT films. By the way, this year has 23 films that has queer content to varying degrees. We'll hear from TIFF CEO Cameron Bailey, who will fill us in on what we can expect at this year's film festival. We'll also hear from Bennie, Senior Director of Audience and Community at TIFF. Plus, we'll get to know some of the programmers from TIFF. And on this episode, we'll hear from Jason Anderson, International Programmer for Shortcuts. Plus an hour 2, music from LGBT artists, independent artists, voices that we've come to know and love in classic disco, classic 80s, classic house. And on this episode, I'm featuring some disco, some Canadian new wave, as well as a spotlight on queer men's vocal group, Manifesto, and more. All that lies ahead as we start this journey 317 through Rainbow Country. And our first stop is what I'm calling the Rainbow Country School for Canadian Gay History. And today's lesson from activist and author Tim McCaskill, the early days of the AIDS epidemic.
At first, we didn't believe it. I was doing the international news for the Body Politic when I read a report in an American paper about a strange new cancer that was apparently affecting gay men. More sensationalized media homophobia, I thought. Didn't turn out that way. Some Body Politic collective members were back and forth to New York and soon reported that something serious was indeed going on. Guys who had seemed quite healthy months before were suddenly dying. Nobody knew what was happening, so everybody got to project their own prejudices on the blank slate of AIDS. If you were an environmentalist, it was obviously big city pollution. If you didn't like poppers, it was caused by poppers. If you didn't like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, it was too much sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Maybe it was all that sperm up our bums. If you were a fundamentalist Christian, it was obviously God's punishment, the wages of sin is death, and so on and so on. What we did know was that somehow it was connected to sex. That was bad news for those of us in the business of sexual liberation. We saw a whole community based on sexual networks potentially falling apart. We feared everything we'd built up over a decade was about to be destroyed, not to mention that we were all going to die. New York and San Francisco were already in a panic. Larry Kramer was screaming that we were fucking ourselves to death. Baths and sex clubs across the US were being closed down. There were no effective medicines. If you had it, it was just a matter of time before you died. The government was doing fuck all, so we had to figure this out for ourselves. In 1983, the community came together to form the AIDS Committee of Toronto and began to organize care teams and support groups. Then HIV was identified. For the first time, we knew this was a blood-borne virus that could be sexually transmitted. ACT took on prevention campaigns. What squared the circle of sexual liberation versus a deadly sexually transmitted disease was safe sex. Condoms came to our rescue. We could still have sex, just had to use a rubber. AIDS in Toronto was born in the shadow of the bath raids, remember? We had just moved heaven and earth to defend these places. We weren't about to let them close down now. So while baths and clubs were being shuttered south of the border, ACT demanded there be no such closures in Toronto. Baths here remained open and became sites of outreach and education, and they're still open today. This is Tim McCaskill, a gay liberation dinosaur from another planet and author of Queer Progress.
Hi, I'm Saida Garrett, co-writer of Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mr. Mark Tara.
Up next, TIFF CEO Cameron Bailey fills us in on what we can expect at TIFF 2022.
Everyone, how are you? Good evening and welcome. It's the opening night.
Tonight, we thank you. I am so humbled and so grateful to be here this evening.
I'm extremely excited to be here. Thank you all for holy shit. There's a lot of y'all.
I'm very proud to be here tonight, and I'm so grateful that you joined us.
Don't stop till you get enough.
Hello, Toronto!
Happy Halloween, Michael.
Can we talk about this? Toronto, the best of them all.
If you ever think about the big place to watch films, it's TIFF.
I want to thank Toronto because you have always honored, celebrated, exalted female directors.
The warmth and the love that you gave me is something I will never forget in my life.
It's so exciting to be here at Toronto in this gorgeous theater.
This feels like Christmas Day.
Thanks to you for coming.
This is truly a very special evening for me.
It's just why we do what we do, you know?
I love this festival and it's an honor to be back.
Behind me is what we call society, what we see in there every day, and what we have on the screen. Let's keep on doing movies about us. We're making pictures about what's happening today in society. Thank you for coming.
Cameron Bailey, hi, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I am well. I'm better now that I'm here with you to talk about the 47th annual Toronto International Film Festival. Crazy. I know the last 2 years have been challenging, a global pandemic. 2020, I believe the festival was all virtual. 2021, it was a hybrid. 2022, is the Toronto International Film Festival, is it back in person?
It is 100% back in person,
Yay.
and we couldn't be more excited. You know, I got to tell you, the last 2 years have been hard. They've been hard for everyone, no matter where you are in the world, what you've been doing. When you're trying to put on a festival where the goal is to gather a whole lot of people together indoors, sitting right next to each other, that's the one thing you can't really do in a pandemic. So we found ways, you know, we had hybrid models. We used digital technology to reach people across Canada. We did drive-ins. We had distance seating last year. And of course, everyone masked, all of those things. But now we are in a different stage. So we can gather people in person, full capacity houses. We're closing down King Street to put on our own festival street in front of our main venues during the first 4 days of the festival. And we're looking forward to inviting the whole world that loves movies to join us.
For yourself, what are you excited in regards to the films this year? What are you excited about to bring to the TIFF audience? What films are you looking forward to for people to see?
You know, even more than specific films, and I will get to a couple of those, but even more than specific films, I think it's the feeling that you get when you're watching a movie, not by yourself or with a small group of people, family, friends at home and on your couch, but when you're in a movie theater with hundreds of people and you're sharing those emotions. You're sharing the tears, the laughs, the excitement, the tension, the suspense. And that all gets magnified. It gets bigger when you're sharing it with a lot of other people, those emotions. We haven't had that for a long time. It's been hard to find those experiences. Summer movies have helped a lot, but the kind of rich emotional experiences that we get from the kind of films we show at the festival, we haven't really been able to do that in a movie theater together for a long time. So beginning with our opening film, The Swimmers, which is an incredibly powerful story of two young sisters with a dream of being competitive swimmers, but they happen to be refugees. That movie's an incredibly powerful experience. The Steven Spielberg film that we're premiering, The Fabelmans, another incredibly powerful experience. A movie like Sarah Polley's Women Talking, which adapts the Miriam Toews novel, also a deep, rich, powerful, and challenging experience, I think, for a lot of viewers. It deals with some very tough material, but does it in such an insightful, beautiful way. And those, you know, experiencing those movies together, I think is just going to be, a much, much bigger and maybe longer lasting experience for people.
Mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, how many films are part of this year's festival?
We have about 200 feature films and about 50 short films in the festival. We also have lots of other events, on-stage conversations with people like Viola Davis, Eddie Redmayne, and others. We have music, live music on our festival street during the first 4 days of the festival. Lots of other events as well as the films on screen.
Festival at Home. What is Festival at Home?
Well, we didn't want to completely abandon what we had done in the last 2 years, which is develop a digital platform where you can take part in the festival at home as well. So we've brought that back in a smaller scale way. So we've got about 24 feature films that will be available for home viewing across Canada through our digital TIFF Bell Lightbox. You can get all the information on our website, and you can take part in the festival, get a taste of it. From the comfort of your own home. But I think the bigger experience will be in cinemas this year.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you can't get to Toronto. Somebody living in Whitehorse can...
Exactly. Anywhere across Canada.
Yes. So TIFF has various aspects to it, including I believe this year is the 4th annual TIFF Tribute Awards. Some past recipients include Sir Anthony Hopkins, Jessica Chastain, Kate Winslet. This year has the first performance award going to the cast. I can believe it's the cast of My Policeman, which stars Harry Styles. Inquiring minds want to know, will Harry Styles be in Toronto?
We certainly expect him to be, yes. Not only is he receiving a tribute award for his performance in My Policeman, along with his fellow cast members, the 6 members of the ensemble cast who play the 3 main characters in the movie at different periods of time, but we're also making the world premiere of My Policeman, and it's just a terrific performance from Harry and the rest of the cast. Of course, he was just in Toronto performing on stage, playing his music, singing. This is a different Harry Styles. He's quite a serious actor, very committed to the craft, and he does terrific work in My Policeman. And it's a very powerful story set in the mid-1950s in England, where he plays a policeman who falls in love with a man, but it is a time of great repression. And he feels compelled to marry a woman instead, but carries on this relationship with a man that he truly loves. And it makes for very, very powerful drama. And the cast is terrific.
And I take it you've seen that film. How was it?
Yes.
How was Harry Styles' performance?
He's great. This is a man who can command, 50,000 people in a stadium with his music, but cinema is a different art form. It's a much more intimate art form, and it really works so well in close-ups and in scenes with just a few people, and he does that very, very well. It's I think a performance full of courage. This is a music icon who's got a sort of image to protect, but you don't see any of that. He's not trying to play a pop star Harry Styles in the movie. He really digs into the character that he's playing, and it delivers, I thought, a very persuasive and emotional performance.
So we've gone from a worldwide musician and rock star to Canadian actor Brendan Fraser also being honored for, I believe, The Whale.
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
Brendan Fraser is someone who's done just about everything in movies. He's played, of course, in action adventure blockbusters like The Mummy. He's played a romantic lead. He's played comedy. We have never seen Brendan Fraser like we will see him in The Whale. It's a dramatic role. He's physically transformed. He plays a very overweight man who is just plagued by all kinds of emotional and psychological issues as well. He stays inside his apartment. He teaches college students remotely, and it's about his trying to get beyond the mental health issues that are really plaguing him. It's from director Darren Aronofsky, who made Black Swan. And if you remember the dramatic and the emotional intensity of Black Swan, that's what you'll see from Brendan Fraser in The Whale. He's just terrific, and I think that he's going to get a lot of notice for this performance.
Hillary Rodham Clinton is going to be talking at TIFF this year?
That's right. Yeah, she and her daughter Chelsea Clinton will be
Are
here.
both going to be here.
They're both going to be in Toronto for the film festival. They've been involved in a new documentary that we're presenting, and they will also be giving a talk. They've been very active, both of them, of course, in feminist issues, in supporting the rights of women, and that will be part of the subject of their talk.
So 2022 marks Cameron Bailey's being crowned, being named CEO of TIFF. This is your first year.
It is.
How are you finding the seat?
It's been
so
great.
to speak.
They didn't give me an actual crown, which is a good thing. But it has been just a real pleasure to lead this organization. I've been a part of TIFF for many, many years. This is my 25th festival working with TIFF. My first in this capacity as CEO. And I'm just thrilled to be part of a team that is so dedicated to bringing, I think, the best festival to the best audience in the world. It's a complicated beast. It takes a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of people, to put this on successfully when we're doing it at this scale again. And I just feel that it is an honor to be in the position that I'm in, and I can't wait for September 8th when it all starts.
Well said, well said. 1976, the Festival of Festivals, the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF. I believe you began as a programmer back in 1990, Perspective Canada, I believe.
That's right.
2022 marks your first year as CEO. So my last question for you, Cameron Bailey, is simply this. In 2022, what does TIFF mean to you?
TIFF it's a gathering place. It's a place where we can get together and share an art form that I love. I fell in love with movies as a college student, and I'm still in love with movies. And not just share the art form in terms of experiencing it, watching and listening to what movies give us, but sharing how we respond to films. One of the great things about films is that they open you up. You know, the screen is huge. It's bigger than us. We're in the dark. We're with other people, and we're open. We're vulnerable in a way to whatever the movie is unfolding for us. And I love that experience. I love that we can do it on such a grand scale every year, where we have almost 500,000 people participate in the festival in one way or another, and affect people, make them feel something, take them places they haven't been before through the stories they're watching on screen, and then walk away just a little bit transformed, thinking maybe about their own lives or about the world around them in a different way. I find that's incredibly powerful. I feel like it is a gift that I have to be able to be doing this work. And that's what TIFF means to me.
Well said. Cameron Bailey, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciated the conversation. Thanks for your questions.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Good evening and welcome. It's the opening night.
For all things TIFF, tiff.net. And if you can't make it to Toronto, but you're a film lover and you'd love to partake somehow, make sure you check out Festival at Home from the TIFF website.
Don't stop till you get enough.
Hello, Toronto.
Happy Halloween, Michael.
Muchas gracias. Toronto, the best of them all.
If you're a film buff, the best place to watch films is TIFF.
I want to thank Toronto because you have always honored, celebrated, exalted female directors.
The warmth and the love that you gave me is something I will never forget in my life.
So exciting to be here at Toronto in this gorgeous theater.
This feels like Christmas Day. Thanks to you for coming.
This is truly a very special evening for me.
This is why we do what we do, you know.
I love this festival and it's an honor to be back.
Behind me is what we call society, what we see in there every day, and what we have on the screen. Let's keep on doing movies about us. We're making pictures about what's happening today in society. Thank you for coming.
When did gay pride become just pride?
I can answer that for you, and I can answer what the big turnaround was, and it's a very simple thing. Corporatism is when gay pride became pride. As soon as we got corporate sponsors, as soon as we had the approval of the corporations around us, oh my God, the beer company's going to sponsor it and they're going to give us a float, and look at the telephone company's going to do something and someone else is going to do something.
But drop the gay.
Yeah, drop the gay and include everyone. And I always thought, why should we include everyone? This is a gay pride celebration. It is for people who are in a sexual minority. We had something that was for us to make people recognize who we are and to acknowledge that we actually existed.
Award-winning playwright and author Brad Fraser reflects on some important gay history. The time frame, the 1990s. When gay pride becomes pride, with the introduction of corporate sponsorships.
Hi, I'm Keegan Hurst, former professional rugby player, coach, raving homosexual, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Up next, Senior Director of Audience and Community at TIFF, Keith Bennie. Keith Bennie, hi, how are you?
Hi, Mark. I'm great. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for being here to have your voice, your story be heard by the LGBT community and beyond, especially to talk about the 47th Annual Toronto International Film Festival. It's back in person coming out of 2 years of a global pandemic. And I believe in 2020 it was 100% virtual. In 2021 it was a hybrid, and now here we are back in person. How are you feeling about being back in person?
Yeah, feeling great about being back in person. As you mentioned, the last 2 years, we were reaching audiences digitally out of necessity. And we weren't really able to capture that same buzz, that same energy that you get from having the world's press, the world's film industry here in Toronto alongside our amazing Toronto audiences. So to have everyone back together in one space watching movies together is really the dream, to have that same kind of movie watching experience. I will say that, you know, we are back in person 100%. We have all of our venues back this year, but we do have a digital extension of the film festival, 24 films that we have confirmed that people across the country can watch.
And that's Festival at Home, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. You know, I'd say similar to what you mentioned about the last 2 years, it's almost as if we were producing a digital film festival each of those years. And for this year, we didn't want to do the same. We didn't want to create a digital film festival, but instead return to an in-person film festival that has digital extensions.
And I think that's brilliant, because someone in BC or someone in Newfoundland that listens to the show, they can purchase tickets and see a film that's part of the Toronto International Film Festival, and they can say that they've been there.
Exactly. And we didn't want to lose that, right? That was one silver lining of the last 2 years, is we were able to welcome more people to the festival than we had before from outside of the city. And so we wanted to be able to continue offering that.
For yourself, would you say that you are a film fan?
Absolutely. I think anyone who works here at TIFF and contributes to our mission to transform the way people see the world through film has that film fan within them. So I am certainly a film fan. From a very young age, I was a film fan. I actually originally wanted to be a film director. And I, as a young kid, wrote letters to Steven Spielberg and James Cameron, you know, wanting to know their secrets. So, film is something I've always been captivated by as a young person.
Out of curiosity, have you had a chance to actually meet those individuals in person?
No, I haven't. I haven't had.
At least not yet.
Not yet. And I mean, that's such a great segue to something I'm sure you know, which is that Steven Spielberg is coming to TIFF this year for the very first time. He's never brought a film to the festival, but he's bringing a film called The Fabelmans, which is actually a very personal story. It's inspired by his life. And so we're really, really honored and excited to be able to connect that film with Toronto audiences.
You're going to have to make your way to the front of that line.
Yeah. Perhaps, you know, find a way to maybe ask him if he got my letter from many years ago.
So you and I are both part of the LGBT community. We're both gay individuals. And there are a number of queer films that are part of the festival in 2022. Are there any particular films that stand out to you that maybe members of the LGBT community might be interested in?
Absolutely. And I'll say, Mark, that it's a banner year for LGBTQ plus films at the festival this year. I'm counting 23 feature films that have LGBTQ plus characters and storylines.
Wow.
And one thing I know within that is that many of the films this year that are about our community are coming from Canadian directors. So, I think if there's one headline coming out of TIFF 2022, it's that the next generation of Canadian filmmakers are looking to bring vibrant queer stories to the screen.
Have you?
And I can tell you about some of them if you like.
Sure.
Yeah, one that I'm really excited about is called Something You Said Last Night, from a director named Luis de Felippis. And I'll say about Luis that she also founded an initiative called the Trans Film Mentorship Project, which is meant to bring trans filmmakers into film sets and into the film industry for the first time, so that they can really get some shadowing opportunities on projects. And so Luis welcomed 5 mentors as part of that program who shadowed on her film set. They've recently gone on to shadow on an HBO show, sort of. And they're planning to do a third run shadowing on a new documentary coming up, executive directed by Elliot Page. And so in addition to this amazing film that Luis has brought to TIFF this year, she's also someone who's trying to create active change in the industry and open up opportunities for trans filmmakers and creators.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I haven't seen that film yet, but I believe there is a trans character in it.
That's right. Yeah, it's about an aspiring 20-something writer who's the trans character, and they accompany their younger sister and their parents on a vacation. And I think it's about the whole experience of being with family and trying to find the right way, forward to as a young trans person within your family and within all that comes along with spending time with those you love.
So TIFF has various aspects to it. There is obviously the film aspect, but there's also the industry side of things, where there are meetings, there are negotiations, there are conferences, there are talks, and Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton are going to be talking at this year's festival.
That's right. Yeah, we're very excited to have them both here.
I guess they're here to talk about an Apple series, Gutsy. Have you seen that at all?
I haven't seen it yet, but from what I know, the Apple series is based on the book of Gutsy Women, Favorite Stories of Courage and Resilience, which has been produced by their production company, Hidden Light. And so the docu-series, I think, each episode profiles a gutsy woman. And so they'll be here to talk about, the book, but also how it's been adapted into this series and their role and their advocacy for women and how women are making active change in society.
Mm. So Keith, you are the Senior Director of Audience and Community at TIFF. Talk to me about what that entails.
Yeah, Audience and Community is our public programs at TIFF, at the festival, but also our year-round building, TIFF Bell Lightbox. And that encompasses what I call 5 different areas of programming. So we do youth programming, which is all types of film opportunities for those under 25 years old, all free programs for young people to explore film, those young creators, those young film lovers to come out and participate. We have a community impact program, which is an intentional kind of way in which we work with 50 community partners throughout the Greater Toronto area to open our doors wider and bring audiences from those community organizations into TIFF, and also co-create events with them throughout the year. This is to try to make TIFF a more inclusive place to be. People often think because of the celebrity and red carpets that it's a very exclusive place, But we have a lot of opportunities for people to get engaged, low barrier ways, free opportunities. And so the community impact team is one that helps connect community members with those opportunities. We do talks and subscription series, and these are year-round at the Lightbox. A lot of public programs that we do to try to connect people with film. We have a Books on Film series. We have something called Secret Movie Club, which is kind of like a film club where you get a first look at films before they hit the multiplex. And then we do special talks with guests throughout the year. We oversee the volunteer program and seniors programming at TIFF as well. So this year, especially after 2 years of doing very much digital activities, we're back to in-person activities. So you're going to see that TIFF volunteer group out there in full force, directing everyone where they need to go and helping out with all types of activities at the festival. And finally, we have a film reference library, and that is on the 4th floor of TIFF Bell Lightbox. We have a library. In that library, there's all types of books and publications related to film and filmmaking. We have a screening library of over tens of thousands of titles that audiences can come in and watch in our screening room. And also at the library, we have artist special collections. So over 100 artists have donated their collections to TIFF to take care of and to house for future generations. That includes their films, 35 millimeter films, but also props and costumes and artifacts from Canadian film. So our audience and community team is meant to be about educational opportunities. It's meant to connect audiences throughout Toronto with all that we do at the Lightbox. And it's meant to really amplify and elevate all of the film programming we do here.
Wow. You have a full plate.
Yes, a full plate, but I like a full plate. I like the opportunity to keep busy, and it means that every September comes very fast each and every year. It's hard to believe how fast it comes.
Keith, Bennie, I have to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on the show.
Of course, Mark. I'm always happy to come to the show, and I'm happy to be back. Thanks for the invitation.
Don't forget, for all things TIFF, tiff.net.
Hi, I'm Garrett Conley, author of Boy Erased, a memoir. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
So I thought I would take this time to share with you some of the LGBT films that are part of this year's Toronto International Film Festival. And in my opinion, maybe the best way to find all those films in one go. Okay, here's what I suggest. Go to tiff.net and find the film festival section. Hit on the search bar within the film festival section and keep it easy for yourself. Type in Bros. It's a gay rom-com that's out now, that's coming to the festival. Type in Bros, B-R-O-S. When the page loads, scroll down to the very bottom, because there you will find some tags. And click on the tag that says 2S LGBTQ+. You click on that tab, and all of the LGBT films, and I believe there are 23 of them that are part of this year's festival, will all come up at once. And for me, that is the best way if you want to consume some queer content at this year's festival, the best way to find them all in one go. So here are some highlights. I think some highlights. Bros, a rom-com, a gay rom-com. My Policeman, which stars Harry Styles and is about a gay policeman in 1950s England. Dangerous times to be gay, but he ends up marrying a woman and has an affair, essentially. I'm looking forward to that one, I must say. Another film of interest, this one part of Midnight Madness, The People's Joker. It's a multimedia experience. It has live action, animation, music, a bit offbeat. But if you're into that stuff, check out The People's Joker. Another film, Something You Said Last Night, that has a trans character in it. The Inspection, which looks interesting, about a black man who's part of the military and is dealing with being gay and is kicked out of his home because he's gay and he joins the military. Sounds fascinating. Another film, Rosie. It's a Canadian film about 1980s Montreal with some gay characters, some trans characters. It's a good feel movie, Canadian movie. Rosie. Okay, a couple other films. Casa Susanna, about cross-dressing gay men. One other film, The Blue Caftan. A film about a closeted married Iranian tailor, an affair with a younger man, his apprentice, all while his wife looks on. The Blue Caftan. It's a Middle Eastern movie. Again, TIFF.net is your friend. Go there, find the film festival section, type in, make it easy, type in bros, scroll down to the bottom, hit the tag that says 2S LGBTQ+, and then all the LGBT films at the 47th Toronto International Film Festival will appear like gay magic. So coming up next, a flashback to 2019 when I was able to connect in person with some of the TIFF programmers. Today, we'll hear from Jason Anderson, who is the international programmer for Shortcuts at TIFF. Jason Anderson, hi.
Hi, good to see you.
You are one of the programmers for Shortcuts.
I am.
Talk to me about the various, because there's more than one program.
Yes.
There are multiple programs.
Yes. So we have 8 programs with 55 films. We're covered of those 8 programs. We have films from, I think, 32 countries represented. And we do animation, we do documentary, we do live action narrative. And we have just like this huge array, huge diversity of films, filmmakers, which is like what we love to do.
Why the different programs? Talk me through that.
I mean, just for Shortcuts?
Yeah.
Oh, I just think that, certainly we kind of like to, one thing I like to think about for Shortcuts is we're kind of like the entire festival distilled into this very, very concentrated, intense kind of packages. And so we do try to put a bit of everything into every one of those programs. So audiences are seeing like a wide array of stuff from Canada and across the world. They're seeing comedies, they're seeing dramas, they're seeing animation, they're seeing just a huge sort of abundance of this stuff, and a lot of it by brand new filmmakers who haven't been to the festival before, so it's kind of a place for discovery, but also just like new everything, like new animation techniques, new countries people haven't seen before, new places, new voices, new perspectives. So it's really a kind of, again, this sort of like distilled, perfect, not perfect, but certainly we try to make every moment count.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long have you been programming Shortcuts?
So I've been on the Shortcuts team since 2015, which is the year after TIFF expanded Shorts to be an international as well as Canadian showcase. So it's been amazing seeing it grow, because I think it was kind of like off in the sort of corner of the festival for a long time, and it was great for sort of launching Canadian talent, but now it's really we have like full houses and people are very excited to see, because it really is like a lot of people like we had with Canadians, like we were playing directors who are coming back to the festival with first features, and we're kind of the people who were introducing a lot of these filmmakers to TIFF audiences.
When you're programming a short, and these are short films, are there short documentaries as well?
Oh yes, I think there's 6 in the program this year.
Okay.
So we do, so we have like 6 documentaries, 9 animation. Actually, one of the documentaries is an animated documentary. So we take everything up to about 48 minutes.
What is it that you're looking for when you're looking to program a short? What is it? Do you have specifics in mind?
We certainly want to have something fresh, something bold, something exciting. It doesn't have to reinvent the wheel every time, although sometimes that's really great when you get a new kind of wheel. But certainly we want stuff that feels like as great and as exciting as a feature, And sometimes we get films that are somehow 9 minutes long and can pretty much be a feature. Like, you just get so much richness, so much complexity. I mean, they really are as strong as anything else you're going to see at the festival. This is not, they may be young filmmakers a lot of the time, but they're people who have found their voices and found their feet and are doing incredible things already. So it's really something where we feel like it's, just as exciting and bold as anything else you're going to see at the festival.
Walk me through the process. When you're looking to program a short, are you the one that says yes or no, this is in?
Well, it's great. And the team goes through about 4,500 submissions just for shorts every year. So it's an enormous volume. So we have a team of pre-screeners, we have myself, and we go through a lot of work. And I think part of the challenge is that we have a lot of very strong work. So it's really can only play a fraction of all these great films that are out there, because there is an abundance of amazing filmmakers. So we're just looking for stuff that's going to get some kind of reaction from us, And there's plenty of films that we thought were hilarious, and there's films that we thought were really intense, and there's ones that I just sobbed through, like just completely wiped me out. And those are always sort of like good signs when you get a kind of visceral reaction to a film.
Most challenging aspect about being a programmer at TIFF?
Certainly letting down filmmakers, just disappointing filmmakers especially when it's film that you really love and you like and you admire, and to sort of be able to say, well, and there's certainly filmmakers who, and I think because also one thing I really love about working in shorts is that you get to meet so many young filmmakers who are energetic and talented and fun and really open. Like, they haven't really been, like some people get crushed by the industry. They're not there yet. They really are very open, and you really get very attached to these people. So when you come back to when you see another film by a filmmaker you already have this great relationship with, and they're not quite there. It's a bit off the mark, and you have to go back to them and say, "Oh, sorry, we love you, but not this film." And so it's always great when that filmmaker then does another film, and you're like, "Oh no, wait, we're back." So that sort of thing happens all the time. It's certainly because, I think because of the nature of it, you do get, all the shorts programs I know, you just get very attached, because there's a lot of warmth, because it's really at a stage in people's careers where there isn't a lot of money and ego and stuff that kind of maybe gets sort of in the way of those sort of dynamics when you get deeper into your careers.
Last question.
Yep.
Favorite aspect about being a programmer at TIFF?
It's like just to be in a room and it's been so gratifying, especially every year we're getting more people out for the shorts programs. We're filling up the houses, and to be able to sort of look at all these filmmakers who come from all over the world. We've got filmmakers from Nepal. We got filmmakers from Argentina and Brazil. We've got a filmmaker from Egypt. We've got all these people coming from all over, and to be able to sort of host them and give them one of those amazing Toronto audiences of people who are just really, really up for seeing something special, for seeing something different, and to have those two components come together, like the talent and the audience, is just like that's the most gratifying thing for sure.
Jason Anderson, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
I'm here at TIFF 2018 doing random on the street. What does TIFF mean to you? And so, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Susan. I'm from Holland. We live in Amsterdam. We're here for a layover, and we bumped into this.
So, yeah.
And what's your name?
My name is Marco, also from Amsterdam, Netherlands. And, we basically stumbled into this whole TIFF 2018 thing.
So, okay, question. Have you heard of TIFF before?
No. To be honest, no. But it's amazing.
It's like one of the top film festivals in the world. Yeah. Like, there's Cannes, there's TIFF, and you guys are here. How do you feel about that?
Amazing.
So you're here doing a layover. When do you leave back? You're going back to Amsterdam?
Yeah.
So when do you leave?
We leave in like 5 hours. Yeah. We were here at 6 in the morning.
Before I let you go, what do you think of this?
Really like it. Love Toronto. Really. It's amazing.
It's really nice.
Cool.
There's a lot of people on the streets, a lot of exciting things. We bumped into people who are actually sort of celebrity hunting. So then we sort of got the scale of this event. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, thanks for your time. So I am here doing TIFF on the street, and I happen to run into... Beza.
Iman.
Iman.
Yeah, like the model.
Wow, like the model that was married to David Bowie.
Yeah, exactly.
Basic question. What does TIFF mean to you?
Well, as a festival, I think it's really important I think documentaries are important to tell stories, and it's very powerful, and I would love to be involved in the documentary film industry.
Are you a budding documentary filmmaker?
One day. It's a plan. So yeah.
And Iman, what does TIFF mean to you?
So I just recently moved to the city. We both just did. And we've been hearing about TIFF for quite a while, but I think being here for the first time, and I think it's a progression with a lot of film festivals, is that they're becoming more spaces for more inclusive representations of filmmaking and film producers and actors. And I think TIFF, is it a B? Oh, no, okay. And I think TIFF is sort of becoming an extension of that progression in the film industry, and sort of representative of like Toronto as a city and where it's going to. Yeah.
Are you going to see anything here at TIFF?
Yes, we are. We're watching The Assassination Nation on the 11th, and we're watching it because of Abra. She's one of our favorite artists. Yeah. And supporting her.
Well, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your TIFF.
Thank you. You too.
I am here and I've run into Matt and Jonathan. Jonathan is a seasoned TIFFer, and Matt is not a first-time TIFFer like me. So, Jonathan, I'm going to start with yourself. What does TIFF mean to you?
It's something I look forward to every year. It just means watching movies for me. A lot of people come to stargaze, and that can be fun, but for me, I like to cram in as many movies as I can in the 10 days. So it's just a chance to see some of the best movies of the year.
And Matt, what does TIFF mean to you?
To me, TIFF means crowds, people. I didn't know what to expect from TIFF. This is my first time. And now that I live right by it and I see everything happening, TIFF means community, people, crowds, but everyone generally is excited. And I like the excitement, so it's that.
So, Jonathan, how many films have you seen so far this year?
I've only seen one. I saw the Lady Gaga A Star Is Born. I am actually also accredited for a couple days with a travel magazine called Gravel, and I got to see A Star Is Born today. It was incredible. Yeah, really good. Like, amazing performances, just a really engaging, exciting, emotional movie.
Wow, well, guys, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your TIFF.
Thank you.
Again, TIFF.net is your friend.
Bill 7, to ban discrimination in employment, government services, and housing, based on a person's sexual orientation, was up for a vote at Queen's Park. Most NDP and Liberal MPPs supported the bill, but without some progressive Conservative legislators backing, a divisive split could rack the province. 4 PCs decided to break party ranks to vote with their conscience and support Bill 7. Cabinet Minister and MPP Dennis Timbrell did it to show solidarity for his beloved brother, the well-known drag queen Rusty Ryan. And for me, a gay politician who was not yet out, I had to take a stand. We were known as the Gang of Four. I'm former Cabinet Minister and MPP Phil Gillies. The date, December 2nd, 1986, when LGBT rights came to Ontario.
Hi, I'm Justin Ling.
author of Missing from the Village. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Hi, my name is Joanne Vanicola, and I'm an actor and a writer, and I was first on Rainbow Country with Mark Tara on discussing the massacre at Pulse Club in Orlando. I realized how important it was for our community to have a radio station, specifically for our issues, to talk about people in the LGBTQ community and to provide an outlet for our stories, to discuss our politics, culture, and give voice to the issues that matter to us, and of course our artists and the things that we do globally, and talk about culture. And without people like Mark Tara providing a space for this with a radio show like this, then we wouldn't have that voice. So support, tune in. Thank you.
And just like that, this little gay journey through Rainbow Country has come to an end. For the full 2-hour episode, head over to marktara.com, where everything is connected, and hit the archives banner. To keep up to date with the show, check out my socials at Mark Tara. The podcast is available on all major platforms, including audible.com and iHeartRadio. And finally, I want to take this time to thank you for taking your time to be with me. Remember, despite all the craziness happening in the world these days, know this, that we are living in days of making dreams come true. So believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you.
Hi, this is Police Constable Danielle Botno, also known as LGBT Cop, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.